misunderstood. Because when you see Elvis, the one thing that I'm really sure about, you can see it, is that he's also a very spiritual person. So if you go into a gospel church, if you go into a spiritual place, there's a degree of theatricality that also comes with a way of bringing an audience into a unity so they can receive like a spiritual unity, and you can deliver a message inside of that. You can sometimes go into the heart to go to the brain, or you can go to the brain to come to the heart, right? But the thing you try and do is bring both of them along. So I like to think that even though I make shows, absolutely, they're made for audience participation. They are made with showmanship, they're made with sort of, I mean, some people call it razzle-dazzle. But then right in the middle of it, I like to flip it and say, yes, but it is about something. And whether that's about, you know, the growth through pain or impossible love, it is about something. And I think what was kind of interesting, I thought it was a great choice with Jono. We didn't want to go too much into the difficult part because he talks about it. But and if you think about the world we're in now, when Elvis sings in the ghetto, which nobody wanted him to do, no, not a message song, too political. But then he does that little speech about you see your brother along the way. And then when he goes into walk a mile in my shoes, that is a man who has such profound empathy for other people. That is a truth you cannot take away from Elvis. Empathy for others. Woo! So there is an underlying greater universal idea. But yes, he's a hell of a showman too.
You mentioned spiritual unity, and I feel like I was present in today's screening. Would you all agree?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get a question in. Anyone have a question? Yeah, you did on here.
Okay, what is your inspiration? You obviously love Elvis. I have an Elvis story. I'm sure everyone here has been to Graceland. What is your story for Elvis? Why do you love him so much?
The question was, what is your story with Elvis? Why do you love him so much?
Well, when I was very young in a tiny country town, I don't want to get into competitions because I'll be down south, you know, I was down there a couple of years and I'm a small country town too. And I have a few sherries now and then. Well, my town is smaller than yours. Well, I'm a very small country town. I'll be like, you know, it's like, I'll bet you know, a beer or something. Like, oh, well, my town is 5. How bad I say that? 5,000. I said, it's small. I said, there's 5 houses. So I get a free drink out of that. But I think, growing up in a tiny country town, Elvis was, there were 2 parts to it for me. I got to tell you this. The funny thing is that the Hollywood period is kind of frowned upon a bit, but we at one stage ended up running a local cinema because my dad was in the Vietnam War. We had a gas station, a sort of supermarket, and the man who brought the gasoline to our gas station ran the local cinema. And he died very suddenly of a heart attack. Dad could actually run a projector. Long story short, we were running a local cinema. And Sunday was the Elvis matinee. And even though, although some people may argue this, my taste evolved, I would have gone on some easy come and easy go and say, that is the coolest man I've ever seen. You know? Woo! When I grow up, I want to be like that guy. Right? Which isn't the end of it, because the other thing we did, which was kind of a working class theatre, was that we did ballroom dancing. And we got to travel and do the dance, and we did Latin American, and I got my grandmother to make an Elvis jumpsuit. So that kind of stayed with me. But as it went on, you know, I had other musical heroes, other different journeys, got very, all sorts of theatre, never stopped the journey, never stopped going down the road, which I, by the way, empathise with Elvis on that. I think he never stopped the journey. He was always seeking, always searching, always looking. And so I related to that part of him. But then, if I'm really honest, a lot of my musical heroes came on my way. I say this in a very privileged and humble way. People say, would you do the biopic of this person that you love, or this person that you love? And I looked at it and I'm like, well, that would be great, that would be great. And I was thinking like, well, what can I... But when I looked at Elvis dispassionately, the journey of Elvis from the 50s into the 60s and the 70s somehow to me was an amazing canvas that reflected the journey of America. And the sort of energy of the 50s, and then kind of the Camelot of the 60s and all of that, and then the sort of wildness of the 70s. And I just thought, you know, the thing about biography is it's only as someone's telling. What a canvas to explore the journey of America through such a spiritual, sensitive, and absolutely unique human being. I mean, the more that you dig on Elvis, the more unique you realize he is, you know? So, I know that's a very long answer where I'm avoiding the question. There's a lady over here, I've got to say,